Science is a framework for gaining and organizing knowledge. Science is not simply a set of facts, but also a plan of action, a procedure for processing and understanding certain types of information. Scientific thinking is useful in all aspects of life, but in this text we will use it to understand the chemical world, how the chemical world operates. As we said in our previous discussion, the process that lies at the center of scientific inquiry is called the scientific method. There are actually many scientific methods depending on the nature of the specific problem under study and the particular investigator involved. However, it is useful to consider the following general framework for a generic scientific method. 1. Making observations. 2. Formulating a hypothesis. 3. Performing experiments. To understand a given phenomenon, these steps are repeated many times, gradually accumulating the knowledge necessary to provide a possible explanation of the phenomenon. Once a hypothesis that agree with the various observations is obtained, the hypotheses are assembled into a theory. A theory, which is often called a model, is a set of tested hypotheses that give an overall explanation of some natural phenomenon. It is very important to distinguish between observations and theories. An observation is something that is witnessed and can be recorded. A theory is an interpretation, a possible explanation of why nature behaves in a particular way. Theories inevitably change as more information becomes available. For instance, the motions of the sun and stars have remained virtually the same over thousands of years, during which humans have been observing them. But our explanations, our theories for these motions have changed greatly since ancient times. The point is that scientists do not stop asking questions just because a given theory seems to account satisfactorily for some aspect of natural behavior. They continue doing experiments to refine or replace the existing theories. This is generally done by using the currently accepted theory to make a prediction and then performing an experiment, making a new observation to see whether the results bear out this prediction. Always remember that theories, models, are human inventions. They represent attempts to explain observed natural behavior in terms of human experiences. A theory is actually an educated guess. We must continue to do experiments and refine our theories, making them consistent with new knowledge, if we hope to approach a more complete understanding of nature. As scientists observe nature, they often see that the same observation applies to many different systems. For example, studies of innumerable chemical changes have shown that the total observed mass of the materials involved in the same before and after the change. Some generally observed behavior is formulated into a statement called a natural law. For instance, the observation that the total mass of materials is not affected by a chemical change in those materials is called the law of conservation of mass. Note the difference between a natural law and a theory. A natural law is a summary of observed behavior, whereas a theory is an explanation of behavior. A law summarizes what happens. A theory is an attempt to explain why it happens. In this section, we have described the scientific method as it might ideally be applied. However, it is important to remember that science does not always progress smoothly and efficiently. For one thing, hypotheses and observations are not totally independent of each other, as we have assumed in the description of the idealized scientific method. The coupling of observations and hypotheses occurs because once we begin to proceed down a given theoretical path, our hypotheses are unavoidable to see and often fail to notice things that we did not expect. Thus, the theory we are testing helps us because it focuses our questions. However, at the same time, this focusing process may limit our ability to see other possible explanations. It is also important to keep in mind that scientists are human. They have prejudices, they misinterpret data, they become emotionally attached to the theories and thus lose objectivity, and they play politics. Science is affected by profit motives, budget, fads, wars, and religious beliefs. Galileo, for example, was forced to recant his astronomical observations in the face of strong religious resistance. Lavoisier, the father of modern chemistry, was beheaded because of his political affiliations. Great progress in the chemistry of natural fertilizers resulted from the desire to produce explosives to fight wars. The progress of science is often affected by the frailties of humans and their intuitions, given then by the limitations of scientific measuring devices. The scientific methods are only as effective as the humans using them. They do not automatically lead to progress.